everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a great weekend so far. I know that I've had an amazing weekend. I've been thoroughly blessed and very lucky to see my Australian relatives. But today I want to talk about autism and cognitive load, also known as mental load, and this topic is a topic that was a video I watched through my friend Zach on his Instagram live stream, and he's talking about the demands of mental load on partners, on individuals, and I looked it up from a disability perspective and I found out it was called cognitive load. And as an autistic person, as someone who's on the autistic spectrum and legally disabled, that I want to talk about this from a disabled standpoint and explain what cognitive load is or mental load is from a disability perspective and standpoint. So let's get into it. There are three types of cognitive load. Working memory, also known as intrinsic load, refers to how the way the information or tasks are presented. Germanic cognitive load refers to the work in the permanent state of knowledge. Cognitive load was developed in the late 1980s by John Swelter. He argued that instructions or instructional load could be used to reduce the load of cognitive information that was processed. This topic was also recently brought up on my friend Zach's live stream on his Instagram. And when I was in discussion with my radio friend John, my local BBC radio station. So as a discussion standpoint, I thought, oh, this would be a good video topic for me to discuss as an autistic woman. So here we go. As an autistic woman, I thought I'd give my thoughts on cognitive and mental load that I experience. I experience how my brain works like a battery tank. I start on a already reduced physical ability to be able to process information during the day that I have to process. I have to process the most important tasks of the day that I need to do, but again this is planned before time due to having heightened anxiety of the simplest of tasks. This can include giving myself negative thoughts and doubts if I can even achieve completing the daily goals that I intend to do. For me, I'm very independent and therefore I'm able to achieve most things on my own. But there is a time when I've attended events where I simply cannot take in any more cognitive information as I am so overwhelmed and needing to self-regulate. To be able to function being on the autistic spectrum has its challenges. By giving me more time to process and helping with direct questions will help me to understand quicker. But again, understand my brain is 6 seconds behind the neurotypical brain as I have a problem called sensory processing disorder. So again, I have a lot to process in the usual prompts to help me, but again I have to set myself the limit of how much information I can take and look after myself. So if you have autistic loved ones, friends, family, work colleagues, people in your family who may be on the autistic spectrum or some form of disability where they struggle to process the mental load of information, please don't tell them off, please don't make them feel bad, please don't make them feel stupid. Understand that they need physical time and mental time to process what you've asked of them, what you're telling them to do. Give them time to process that, whether it means they need to take a breather outside or they need just a few more seconds to self-regulate, to self-calm, to self-soothe. Give them that time to go through that process and just realise that they are actually wanting to respond to you. They are wanting to take part in the conversation. It's just that they physically and mentally cannot at that moment in time because their brain's just going tick, 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 tick with all the information, all the thoughts that are going through their head. And they're having to process so much information at a certain speed, and it kind of goes like bam, 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 bam in our brains. It's just constantly a round and round and round and round circle of thoughts and feelings and emotions and speed and tone and voice and sound. So everything in their brain is just going 10 to the dozen, and they can't switch it off. So it's not like we are being lazy or choosing not to respond to you. We really do want to respond to you. We really do want to be part of the discussion. But unfortunately, our brains don't give us time to switch off or slow down the stimuli that's going on around us. So again, we have sounds of people talking, people on their cell phones, people talking in restaurants. You've got the sound of people who may be eating, or you've got the sounds of people watching TV behind you, or you may have people who are walking loudly behind you, or you may have people who are playing music behind you, or you may have other people who you live with who are making noise, like using the washing machine, or doing the washing up in the sink, or they're using other things to make noise, which can physically disturb all the sounds that are going on in your head on top of everything else that you're already processing and dealing with in that day. So again, you have to better understand our needs. We're not trying to be socially awkward or socially inept or rude or disrespectful or blatantly just giving you disrespect. We're not doing that at all. It's not that we are potentially doing this to cause a problem. No, we're not. The mental load is like, what I'm going to describe it as, when we have a social tank, our social tank starts very, very small like this. So each day, during the day, it breaks down and 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 breaks down. And then by the time we've done so much processing, because we already start on a tank probably about, let's say about that big, and then it's like, so it just goes ba-boom, 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 and it's like, we've run out of social tank energy to be able to process anything else. Once we hit that ground floor there and we're like, uh-oh, we can't do any more, we can't process anything else, we can't join in with social activities, we may become socially withdrawn, we may become so overwhelmed and shut down to the point our brain just goes, uh-oh, you're not going to cope, you're not going to like this, you're not coping, bang, and then we just switch off because our brains are so overloaded with all the stuff we've had to carry that day, that week, that month. It just builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up of little triggers, little triggers, little triggers, little triggers, and then we can't do it anymore. We physically cannot be in the same room as people, or we may need to walk away from people, or we may need just time to self-soothe. If that means by listening to music or meditating or reading or lying down in a dark room or doing something that you may feel is disrespectful by just not talking to anyone, walking away from the situation and not doing things like chucking out the trash or doing washing or putting the laundry away or eating a meal or going for a walk or something like that that you do on a standard day. We may not be able to have the physical and mental energy to do that kind of thing, and from a disability perspective we often get judged on it because it's like, well, you should be able to do this and you should behave like this, and no, we can't. The cognitive load, the mental load is just simply too much for us to handle. And if you keep putting that pressure and added pressure and added pressure and added pressure onto us, it's just going to do us into further shutdowns and meltdowns and heightened states of anxiety. So I just wanted to do this video and kind of explain what cognitive load is, what mental load is from my own disability perspective. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Please like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll be back next time. Bye guys!